All right, guys, we got another project today. We have the back hatch of the camper to work on. We had it taken off when we were working on the camper itself, you know, all the utilities that go into the back of the camper. Instead of messing with that hatch, I just took it off. And so then it was ready to put it back on before our camping trip and put it back on. And I think it has 8 screws on the hinges, and it has 2 hinges on the bottom side. And those 8 screws, I think just 2 of them were biting into something, kind of barely even that. So the rest of them had nothing. I put longer screws in, still nothing. So it was kind of a last minute thing so that I found out. So I just put all the screws in it, had those 2 kind of doing the work, and closed it up and kind of prayed on our trip that we didn't lose it going down the highway. And we didn't. It worked out fine. Came back and took it off again, so I'm doing a little bit more work to it. But decided to actually fix up the hatch. I'm pretty sure just the wood inside is all rotten. And so today we're going to be setting it up on the workbench, getting it taken apart, see what this is made out of. Never done this before, so I'm going to open up kind of a can of worms probably. But let's see what we can get done. And I hope this helps you out with your, any issues you've been having with your back hatch. So let's get started and see what we come up with. Okay, so here's the hatch itself. On the underside, or this is the outside of it, it's painted blue, so I've got some towels down so I don't mess it up, hopefully. Ideally, I would have liked to have done this before I did all the paint job, but we're kind of, under the gun there to head out. So I'm going to take this latch off first, and then this, I think this was an aftermarket deal with the guy that had it before, maybe a strengthening thing. Take that off, and then this back panel, there's no way it doesn't like screw into anything. And what I can tell is that it just kind of fits underneath. I don't know if you could see. It's like the outer panel folds over top of it. And so I got to like undo all of this all the way around and take it off. So we're going to do that next. It's probably going to take quite a long time, actually. So we're going to get started doing that. And then we'll open this back panel up and see what jumps out at us. All right, so I got all the tabs pulled out, so let's see if we can open this, see what we get. All right, we have bugs. Here, let me take you off here and so you can see what I'm looking at. So yeah, obviously that like metal piece that he had along the top here, that was because all of this wood was broken. And look at all these ants. Full of ants. All right, so it looks like it's just kind of a version of a 2x2, maybe a little bit different. I'll make sure the width, this width has to be the same for the new frame I'm going to build, but not necessarily this width. So I'm probably not going to put cardboard in the middle of it. I'll probably put styrofoam that won't get soggy and nasty if it gets wet, and probably put maybe some vertical. Actually, I think I'm going to make the ends wider because I'm going to maybe attach a chain or something so when you open that it has something to attach to in here, and not something this little. And then maybe some center strips as well to kind of give it some rigidity. But man, this is pretty gone. There's not much left here. So all right, I'm going to take some measurements and see if I have some wood this size. If not, I'll have to rip some down with the table saw and then remake it. And I'll probably, this might not be a good enough of a frame to take measurements from. I may have to just measure it from the back panel itself, you know, because it kind of fit up in the corners here. So maybe do that. All right, well, let's get started. All right, so I got the frame cut out. I have the two ends, the top and the bottom here, and then I have the two ends. They're gonna be right here, you know, kind of thing. And then go on the far ends there. So the only difference for this is it's not a typical lumber dimension. The thickness here is 1 3/8 instead of 1.5 inches. So I had to rip this down. Ended up just making them 1 3/8 squares for the top and the bottom. And then these are just 2x4s cut down. I had to run it halfway through the table saw, flip it over, and do the other half. I don't have a planer to cut this down. So this is 1 3/8 tall, so it'll match the same height here. So what I'm gonna do is okay. Also, I measure the lengths, you know, all the different dimensions around the dimension this way and lengthwise, and for the old frame and the new frame, it looks like it was 50 inches wide this way, and so I ended up doing like 49 7/8, just a little bit shorter. It's not a big deal being a little shorter since it's all going to be covered with that metal. You know, I'd rather it be a little bit short to try to fit that metal around it versus long. Same going this way. I think it was 16.5 for these pieces. I think it was like 19 and something total. Anyway, so what I'm going to do now is lay this on the floor and get this built in a rectangle. And then I have to get another piece of this to attach here so the lock mechanism has something to kind of bite into. So we're going to do that, then rip out the old one, put the new one on, cut some foam. So let's get to building this. I'm just going to put it on the floor, get it all squared up, and then screwed together. Alright, so here's the frame. I did end up painting it. I just thought it'd be a little bit added protection. This is just regular wood, not pressure treated. So I thought I'd paint it to get it some protection, and I had some old blue paint from some school project I think I've never used. So this wood is now Superman blue, and I laid it on top of the outer tin here, and I'm gonna just trace the holes that I gotta cut out. Okay, so there we go. We pretty much got it finished. After putting all of that tin back on and hammering it back down, I forgot to put the styrofoam in the middle of the panel here. So I'm just gonna leave it. I'm at this stage. My hands kind of hurt a lot about crimping this metal down. So what I did there, put the frame inside and put the latch through it. And then put the tin over top of it. And I had painted this tin. It was like that kind of 70s light brown color, you know. So I just painted it white for now, and it's all smudged. I gotta clean it from my hands. But put it on, and all it is just the edge of the metal on the other side just folds over it. And so it's just, you know, being sure it all fits in there, and then start folding it over, and then hammering it down, and then I'm gonna have to push on it just to get it nice and flat. You know, it came from the factory all flat, real flat, you know. And so I don't want to use pliers because I'm going to mar up the paint on the front. So I'm just going to probably just push down on my hands again. So next I have to, you know, put the hinges on the bottom and mount it back on the camper. I'm not going to do that quite yet. I'm still actually working on the camper there, so I didn't want this to be in the way. So instead of putting it on, I'm just going to leave it off for now, but it's ready to get back on the camper. Also, it had some chains that when you fold it down, the chains would catch. I'm going to try to come up with something else. I'm not sure. I kind of want something that would want to close on itself all the time, just so it would like hold itself up in case this latch. There's really nothing holding this latch from turning while we're driving. I mean, it's pretty stiff turn on it, so it won't come off. But just as another you know, point of confidence when I'm driving is have the closer, like something on there that wants to keep it closed. So I don't know, I'm going to still research that. But anyway, hope this helps you out in your hatch project if you have to replace yours. It's really just 2 sheets of metal with wood inside and some cardboard, at least on mine. So a pretty good, you know, kind of morning project, afternoon project. Anyways, appreciate you sticking around for this project, and I'll see you on the next one.